What's up, everyone? Pastor David here, and we are working through the book of Psalms. Psalm 13 we did, and that's the cry of the hurting heart. If you haven't seen it, that was a good one. That was a really 6 verses, so powerful. Anyway, now we're at Psalm 14, the hardening heart. It is a stark vertical look at what happens with humanity that decides that the self is ultimate authority. It's all about self. And some of you are probably already saying, yeah, that feels like where we are. Well, yeah, it's not new. This is over 2,000 years ago being written, and it feels like it could be today. Here, listen to it. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Their deeds are vile. There's no one who does good. In Hebrew, the word for fool, you might know it because there's a whole story with this guy's name. It's Nabal. And it doesn't mean someone with a low IQ. It means someone who is morally callous. It's a person who lives as if their actions have no ultimate consequences. Like I said, there's a whole story with David, with someone with that name showing what that name means. Now, notice when the denial happens in his heart, not his head, his heart. It's a rhythmic, emotional decision, not a scientific one. Neurology shows that our beliefs and our behaviors are in a constant feedback loop. So when a person is repeatedly choosing vile deeds, the brain often seeks to shut off the source of conviction to reduce cognitive dissonance. So denial of God is often a survival mechanism for a guilty conscience. Catch what I'm saying here. When you start doing bad things, just simplifying it, when you start doing bad things, your brain tries to shut off this part that says there is a God and there is a right way to live. So as you're doing bad things, you're feedback looping. It's so crazy what our brains do. Feedback looping over and over, getting worse and worse and worse, that there is no God. Because if you actually stop and say there is a God, then all your actions come into question. The next verse says, the Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. All have turned away, all have been corrupt. There's no one who does good, not even one. So this is pretty a pretty awful state of the world at this point. It's the satellite view of Earth, and God is portraying it as the ultimate observer of an evil world. He does get here. In physics, entropy, the second law of thermodynamics states that left to themselves, systems always move from order to disorder. So if God doesn't intervene, this is why I think God ends every war. If he doesn't intervene, we would just destroy ourselves. We would. I think he's the only one stopping. He's like, okay, if I let them keep going, they'll just destroy themselves completely. So he's the only thing stopping all that. And at some point, you can decide when this is. He lets it go and it destroys the world. And then he steps in again so that we understand who is God and how evil our heart and mind can go. It can just get worse and worse and worse, but God. Without the input of God's spirit, the human heart will naturally drift towards corruption. We don't have to work to become corrupt. You automatically feel like I want to do this thing. It's but God that I don't. We just have to we basically just have to shut out God to become evil, to do the bad things we want to do. Moral goodness is not our default setting. It's a gift. It's a gift from God that we must pursue on a daily basis. I hope you're hearing this because, man, it's just crazy what our brains and body will do. Verse 4 says, do all these evildoers know nothing? They devour my people as though eating bread. They never call on the Lord. David describes the fool as a predator. They treat people like bread, disposable resources to be consumed for their own gain. Does that sound familiar? Because that's what evil people do. You're just bread, another consumption for them. Don't let yourself fall into that same loop. Have you ever seen someone so consumed by their own ego that they treat people like objects? This verse reminds us that forgetting God always leads to devaluing people. When we lose the vertical relationship with God first, it always turns into losing horizontal relationship with people, humanity. We become worse. It continues, but there they are, overwhelmed with dread. For God is present in the company of the righteous. You evil doers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Why are the fools suddenly overwhelmed with dread? Because reality eventually will crash the party. You can deny gravity all you want, but you will still hit the ground at some point if you jump. There's a phenomenon called emotional contagion. When God's people stand firm, the company of the righteous, as the verse says, their peace and lack of fear actually agitate those who live in chaos. You ever wonder why people get so mad at church and Christians and godly people? Like, why do you care? Why do you care? That's an actual phenomenon, emotional contagion. The refuge of the poor isn't a building, it's a presence that the world can't explain or overcome. They know their refuge is in God. And whether you're poor or whatever your situation is, if you're still just relying on God and you're okay, you actually irritate those who don't believe in God. Isn't that fascinating? Like, why would they care? But they do for some odd reason. That's why they keep hitting. Anyway, the next verse. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion. When the Lord restores his people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. David ends with a look toward the future. And thank goodness. He's tired of the fools and all the corruption, but he doesn't end in anger. Doesn't just focus on that. He ends with the hope that we know is coming. We know what God's doing. We know how the book ends. We know how the story ends. We have hope. The takeaways. Don't be discouraged by the fools. You see the fools on the news all the time. Their strut is fueled by hidden dread. Don't be discouraged by it. Second, seek understanding. Don't let your heart dictate your head. You actually should use your head sometimes and seek understanding for why things are going the way they're going. Why is this happening? Okay, there is understanding, there is verses, there is knowledge to be had. So don't just let your heart feel what it feels about what's going on. Actually use your head too and go search for it. And then three, wait for Zion. This Zion comes up a few times. True restoration doesn't come from human politics or better deeds. If we all just love each other, yeah, maybe. Okay. It comes when the Lord restores his people. We do know that Zion's coming. God is returning. It will be restored. We have hope in it. We still try, obviously, to be better people and to make a better world, but we have hope because we know that the ultimate truth is God is the one who's going to restore it all. So I hope this was helpful for you. Check out this chapter. It's very interesting. If someone that you know needs to hear it, send it to them. But take a moment now, if you will, and just subscribe and like because we want you to hear all these Psalms messages. They're incredible words given to us by God. See you next time.